Happy New Year to everybody, and thank you for everyone who was joining us. Uh, we are we are jumping in here to review the minutes of December 13th of 2023. Are there any edits, omissions, additions, changes that needed to be put forth?
Was the minutes, John, was the minutes changed? I had to recuse myself from Zach Burkus. I didn't vote on that. I was a supervisor.
John, what number is that on? I'm trying to go through the minutes and find it here.
I remember reading them when they came through, and I emailed. I think I'm not sure if it was you, Maria, or whoever sent them to me.
I don't see it.
I have it here where it says. Did you guys change it? Maybe no.
John, I don't even see it on the.
It's not on here.
It was for excuse me, I was trying to go back and find your email. I did make the update. It was for Christina.
I thought it was for abstain from Christina vote. Yeah.
Yeah, that
That's
was
Christine. Thank you.
That was the email I got from you. Yep, that's been updated. So
okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, see, it's in there, John. Okay, I just see it here under 9. Okay. Again, any other edits or comments? Hearing none, can I have a motion to accept it as presented?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Okay, and it was Norris. Who was the second? Or I'm sorry.
Jen.
Okay, Jen. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Okay. The ayes,
Aye.
Aye.
nays, abstentions. Okay, I'm going to go off the agenda for just a second on, I think, which is a very important issue here, and get an update, because I'm sure commission members and Debbie and Vicky and everybody has been inundated. Can we get an update of where we stand with the CE hours? I know Shauna had an issue a week or two ago, and uploading and all the things that go with it. So Debbie, is that something you can give us an update of where we are? This is the first time a change, and appraisers don't like change as much as we supposed to measure change, but we have some challenges ahead here for the next 3 weeks. So go ahead, the floor is yours, where we stand.
I'm going to throw it over to Jason.
Okay, Jason.
Because I believe Jason sent me the instructions, which I've been providing to anybody who's having a problem uploading. Jason?
I don't know. What are the questions? There's no change that I'm aware of.
No, how do they upload their CE certificates?
We've been hearing nothing but one problem after another, or getting calls, okay?
All right, nothing has come our way that I'm aware of. So you do it through license maintenance.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, the instructions that you have, Debbie, and we're sharing, to my knowledge, are working. This is the first I'm hearing.
Yeah, no, I do share the instructions on how to upload, but it's only after the appraisers contact me, frustrated. How do I do this? How do I do this? So is there any way we can put instructions on the website, perhaps?
I believe they are they not?
I don't know. Clearly.
Nor do I.
Yeah, clearly.
I mean, this is Pamela Brown, the director. Jason, is this your area of responsibility, or is there something? I mean, I don't know if that's something that Debbie should be handling.
I've generally left CE to you guys, to Deb. I'm happy to help and support, but as far as appraisal, I've generally kept my distance. You guys have really taken that and run with it, which is great. And like I said, I'm happy to support, but it's the first time hearing there's any concerns.
I guess the concern is that the instructions that are on the website are not clear enough, simplified enough for a busy appraiser to come in and just click a button. I've been sending them out the instructions if they contact me. So basically you would sign in, commissioners, you would sign into your account using your username and password. Then you go to license maintenance. And that's a problem too, I think, because there's 2 license maintenances. You can go to license maintenance without even signing into an account under online services, I think. I'm not sure. I saw something.
It shows up twice, but you can click either, but it's only going to appear if you're signed in.
Okay. Yeah, because I know it was twice. I'm like, what the heck? Anyways, it's confusing for me too. Okay, so you select license maintenance, and then you click start next to the credential that you want to upload your CE certificates to. So a lot of people have, an appraisal credential, or a broker salesperson credential. So you choose, whatever RSP, RCR, RCG, then you select pre-license or continuing education classes from the drop-down list, and then you hit next. You choose your file that's on your desktop, and then you click upload document, and you can do that multiple times. So once you're done, you hit next each time you're uploading, and you see that the document is the correct document, then you hit next. And then when you're done, you hit finish at the bottom of the page, and apparently the system sends you an email confirming that what you uploaded was successfully uploaded. Correct, Jason?
That's correct.
Thanks.
And I'm looking on the webpage and I see that the instructions are listed there.
Okay. Debbie, are you just getting a few calls, or just, by the time I hear, I'm sure I only get a trickle, and I don't know if other members of the commission are receiving similar calls.
Compared to how many appraisers we have licensed in Connecticut, it is a dribble, but it's amping up. So probably I would think about maybe so far this week, maybe 3, 4.
Okay. All right. Any thoughts, members of the commission on this? Any, I just wanted to get us an update where things stood. So, Debbie, do you have an idea on the renewals? Are we have 50 that renewed, 100, 200, or is it too early? We don't have a counter.
We don't have a count because we're not doing renewals until April.
Yeah. Okay.
After the renewal notices go up. It's
Okay.
just, yeah, I don't know how many uploaded the CE because I don't know how to run that report yet, but
Okay.
I will
That's
find
fair.
out.
We're all going through something new. Okay. Everybody is. You folks at the state, trying to monitor it, not only this, but from electrical to brokerage to everything in between. So I understand. So, okay. All right then. I wanted to thank you. Questions? Any members of the commission? Anything to add to this, or staff?
No.
Very, very good. Okay. I wanted, because I wanted to just quickly move over to the course approvals, please. And with this, under the AQB and IDEC approval, we can see we have the AALs and the APRs. Are there any issues or concerns by members of the commission? Anything from staff that may think that there's a red flag that may have popped up?
We're just talking about the AQB and IDEC approved courses right now, right?
That is correct, John, from AAL 1168 that will go through to AAL 117, through APR 330 at the moment. And then we'll come over to the other two with the no no AQB or IDEC. I'm just talking about those on page 3 of the agenda.
Actually, I would like to add something. I had sent you something confusing for APR 327. It didn't appear that they had their AQB approval for the 15-hour national use PAP. They had everything else in order. But their AQB certificate said Appraisal Institute instead of the name of their place. So Bridget Colton, I think that's how you say her name. She from the Appraisal Foundation emailed me and said that they were approved. They just did the certificate differently. So I'd like to add in what was
No,
it?
that's a separate item, Debbie. That is done separately.
Oh, okay.
We
Okay.
have to stay with the agenda.
Okay.
So I make a motion that we approve AAL 1168 to APR 330.
Okay, a second,
Second.
Norris. Discussion? Hearing none. Ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays?
Aye.
Okay, if that passes, okay. I'll get back to you, Debbie, in just a second. I'm not going to leave you hanging here. But then on the agenda, there was no AQB or IDEC approval, AAL 1175 and 1176. Appraisers Conference and Trade Show Day 1 from Appraisal E-Learning LLC in Nashville, and then Appraisal Conference and Trade Show ACTS Day 2 from, again, Appraisal E-Learning LLC out of Nashville, Tennessee, 7 hours for each, 1175 and 1176.
I reviewed these. I make a motion that we accept AAL 1175 and AAL 1176 for 7 minutes each for a total of 14 hours.
7 hours, John?
7 hours each for a total of 14.
Very good. Second?
I'll make that second.
Okay, Jenna, second. Ayes?
Aye.
Nays?
Aye.
Abstentions, we're good. Now, Deb, I'm coming back to you. Okay, now go ahead. We're
Yes.
going to have to make a motion to put it on the agenda. So could you give us, again, the quick summary of the background
Mhm.
of the,
So I had sent over on January 4th, I emailed you course APR 327, which was the 2024 15-hour national use PAP course. And it didn't have the AQB approval with their name on it. So there was some concern that it wasn't approved. But then I started thinking it's a use PAP course. It has to be approved if everybody else is approved, you know, the instructors and all that. So I contacted Bridget Colton from the Appraisal Foundation, and she confirmed that this school has been approved to teach this class, the AQB approval. So I'd like to add that back in if possible. APR, I just had it.
327.
327. Thanks, Vicky.
members of the commission, can I get a motion to add to the agenda course APR 327 to the agenda? Second call.
I make a motion that we add APR 327 to the agenda.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second it.
Okay, Norris is second. Discussion by everybody and anybody. Hearing none, then I'll call the addition here of adding to the agenda APR 327 to the agenda. Ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? Great. Now it's on the agenda. Discussion or thoughts on the class?
I make a motion that we accept APR 327 for 15 hours of the 15-hour use PAP for, now they're giving a test with that too, right, Deb?
Yes, they would
that'd
have
be-
to if they're going to
yeah.
get, if they're going to
So
get
that-
the approval for it. So,
Right, 15 hours for 15 hours.
I'll
Great.
second
A
it.
second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Norris, thank you. Ayes?
Aye.
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 Abstention or nays? Abstentions? Great. Okay, so we've taken care of that. That's great. Okay. Deb, while we're at it, anything else to add on the course? We're good on the courses then, correct?
We're good on the courses. It was
Good,
really a
good, good.
light month, yeah.
Good. Okay. All right. All right. Now, let's jump into, is Vicky here? I have to look.
Yes, yes, I am.
Vicky.
Hi, good
Okay.
morning. Yes,
Good
I am
morning.
here.
Good morning. I know you have a busy schedule, and
No
so
busier
I'm
than
gonna,
anyone else's.
yeah, I'm opening up on the legal issues that you had some uh whoever wants to talk about go ahead. Compliant,
Okay.
you have two things: discussion on state statutes and then updates on compliance case. Go, the floor
Okay.
is yours.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. Relative to the Korea regulations, those have been submitted and are currently under review. We don't anticipate there being any problems. Just so that the, I say, record is clear, the certified residential licensees are the piece that, you know, we had included. When an approved certified general program is available, that will be added to the regulation. So at this time, only Korea as it pertains to certified residential licensees is what has been submitted for approval at this time.
Okay.
All right, that's relative to that. We did, meaning Deb and I, we did have a compliance meeting recently. And in terms of the case summary, this is a case in which the department received a complaint, you know, regarding violations of USPAP. It was, you know, primarily USPAP violations. And the procedure is that we have that person come in for a compliance meeting. So in this instance, the person did come in for a compliance meeting. And as a result of the meeting, we had made a determination that there were violations of the Connecticut General Statute relative to negligent worker incompetence, making false or misleading or deceptive representations to the public. And of course, any violation of the general statutes is a violation as it relates to the person's profession or occupation. Relative to the standard rules, it was one on general development, product identification, market analysis, and highest and best use, approaches to value, sales agreements, reconciliation, general reporting requirements, and the content of the real estate appraisal report, and also certification. As a result of the meeting, the I'll say respondent, that's what he's called, the respondent had indicated that he realized that there were some, I'll say, deficiencies in his report writing. And as a result, the department had made the recommendation that there be a monetary fine and that there would be a 15-hour USPAP course taken in person or, you know, on the web, as they say, and a 15-hour class on residential report writing and case studies. And all of these classes, or the classes that are taken, would not allow for CE credit. And the other thing was that we're going to have a 12-month reporting to the department. And we thought that it would be best to do it for a year just to see the progress that's being made quarterly. Deb, as the examiner, would ask for 2 samples and take a look at those and see that there's progress that's being made. The respondent is in the process of trying to secure, or has, you know, provided us with information of a person that would be a sponsor for them. And that person has more than 10 years experience as an RCG and is in good standing. We believe that the courses would be available, or we want them to be completed on or before, you know, April 30th, 2024. So that is basically it in terms of what had happened. The meeting was on December 27th, I believe it was. And the respondent has been very cooperative, if you will, with providing the department with, you know, a work file and getting information for the work file that should have been completed and should have been put in there as part of the work file. So I think we're happy with the results. And, you know, that's, I guess, the extent of the information that I can tell you. But that's where we are on that map.
May I ask, so I was just writing
Oh,
down,
yes,
so we have a 1 year, 12-month monitoring, a 15-hour residential writing class, a 15-hour USPAP. Am I correct on that in those notes?
That is correct. Yes,
And
and there was a monetary fine as well for $600.
$600. Okay. I open it up to questions from members of the commission. Okay. Hearing none. All right. May I ask something right here? I'm going to follow up. Was this a provisional appraiser? Because now you
No,
said
no.
now going to secure another's.
A supervisor, or RCG. No, this was a RC, it's a residential, right? Residential person.
Yeah. So this person is in the process. That's where I was a little confused right at the end when looking to secure a. Did you say supervisor for the next?
Well, no,
12
this
months?
is, well, I say supervisor in the sense that we thought it'd be best if he worked with someone over that month, over that year period of time. I mean, we don't want him to just be out there by himself thinking, oh, okay, I'm doing everything. No, you need to have somebody, give you some guidance. And that was the reason why we had suggested, when I say supervisor, I meant supervisor or sponsor.
Fair
in that
enough.
regard. But yes, I'm sorry. I apologize. That wasn't clear. Yeah, thank you.
No, I just want to make sure I understood.
Yeah, okay, so that's,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you. Obviously, it's my ears are the problem. Nothing, anything from the commission? Members of the commission, questions? Hearing none? Then great, thank you. The floor keeps going yours or whomever with the DCP investigations.
Deb will provide that information. Thank you for your time, everyone.
Thank you.
Well, I emailed the commission this morning the case update, which is we've got 16 total open cases. One of them was the one that we just spoke of, so that should be closed. And then one was forwarded to the legal department on 12/29 for further enforcement action. I've got 2 closed cases that were both found no significant USPAP violations, so no action was warranted. And those cases were closed on 12/21 and 12/27.
Great. Any questions from members of the commission?
Did we discuss, I don't have any issues with what Debbie just said, but with Vicky, with the state statutes and the regulations for pyrrhia, did we discuss that? Are there any issues with that? Is that all set?
I'm sorry. Yes, John, I had started out with that. What I was saying is that the pyrrhia regulations have been, the pyrrhia regulations have been submitted. The part that we are having reviewed, if you will, is as it pertains to a certified residential licensees only. We're only doing pyrrhia as it pertains to that. When an approved certified general program is available, that will be added to the regulations, but at the time or currently, it's only as it pertains to certified residential licensees.
All right.
And it was just the regulation that, I'm sorry, and it was only the regulations that needed to be
okay.
revised.
So the language that we have is pretty much going to stay, right? The one that you provided us. That we
yes,
had no
and you had,
objection.
yes,
Yep.
and
Okay,
my
good.
understanding was
That's
that
all
you had.
Yep.
I'm sorry, there was my understanding that you had asked that we change the word subdivision to section, and then we did. So
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry if that wasn't clear. That was the first thing I had addressed.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions? Great. Well, we thank you, and not trying to rush anything, but number 2, there's nothing to report to the National Registry. Will the case that you are in the middle of 2022-364, is that something that at some point will be reported to the register?
Yes.
Okay.
Now that it has been provided, overview has been provided to the department, there's no questions. I mean, when I say the department, I'm sorry, to the commission, there's no questions, comments, concerns. It will now be officially reported. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
Can I ask one more quick question?
floor is yours, John.
Vicky and Debbie, what the number, the case number that gets assigned, 2022, I assume that's the year, 364. Is 364 the case assigned for all the department or just the appraisers? Does that mean there's 364 of to
No,
the
it's for the whole
department?
the whole complaint department. They
So if
just,
a plumber gets a thing, he's 365, an electrician could be 367. Okay, thank you.
The
Correct.
way that it works, that's for the Pamela Brown, again, Director of Investigation. That's for the real estate board. It does not necessarily reflect that it's all appraisal complaints because the same board also holds mobile home parks, real estate sales, and brokers.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and while we're on, and Pamela, good morning. My thought is to introduce our newest investigator who's going to be working with us indirectly with real estate. Ms. Villar, how are you there? Maybe she's not here.
We have a new investigator?
Yes, well, she's actually working for real estate, but she's on our meeting today. And I thought this would be a good time to introduce her. I'm not sure where she is, but she'll come on at some point in time and introduce herself.
And so we know who is that, Vicky?
Her name is Anna Elizabeth Villar Howe.
Okay, well, welcome.
oh, she's in a call right now.
Oh, she's in
Okay.
the call. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she'll-
Okay.
yeah,
Mhm.
when she finishes, she'll introduce herself. Yep.
Very
I
good.
apologize. I'm here.
Oh, great. Good
So
morning.
anyway, good morning. So how are you? One of the new staff attorneys here at BCP. I'm working with both the occupational professional licensing side and with the real estate side. So you may see me again.
Great. So you just recently joined
Yep.
the team? Good.
Beginning in December. So it's in the service we used to call it drinking from the fire hose. It's been an interesting steep learning curve.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, welcome aboard. And
Thank you.
no matter what they tell you, the volume coming out of that hose only increases. Okay.
That I believe.
All right.
Thank you.
Then. Well, welcome aboard. Nice
I
to
haven't
meet
heard
you.
that saying in 40 years.
You know,
It hasn't gone away.
very good. Thank you. Vicky, is there anything else you?
No, I
No?
think we're all set. Thank you.
All right, great. Okay. Now I'm going to go into our old business here. And we have RCG applicant Kyle Page. It's sample review and interview, and his supervisor is Chris Stickney, RCG 1485. Is Mr. Page and Stickney with us? If they could be open mic, please, for both.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Jerry.
Good morning. I can hear both. Mr. Page, for the record, can you give your name, spelling of your last name, and your address of employment?
Mm-hmm. Kyle Page, Page, address of employment, 100 Federal Street, Boston, Massachusetts.
Very good. And Mr. Stickney, could you do the same, please, for the record?
Chris Stickney, Stickney, 100 Federal Street, Boston.
Very good. Welcome, gentlemen. This is we're going to have some questions for you, Mr. Page. So just to let you know, any commission member can ask questions, and then there may be a motion and a vote. I, as the acting chairman, can only vote in the event there's a tie. So I just wanted to let you know how the ground rules will go here. So you had sent over your sample reports. They had been forwarded to us, and I say thank you. So members of the commission, are there any questions that you would like to present to Mr. Page?
I got a couple, Jerry, but they're real quick.
I guess, excuse me for 1 second. Could we just have on the record the person's name, business address? I don't know. Did I hear that? Maybe I missed it.
Yes, we did that.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Thank you so much. I'm working remotely, so things may be a little delayed. Thank you. I
Okay.
apologize.
Very good. No problem. Go ahead, John.
So, Mr. Page, you've had 3 supervisors in your, correct? And only your most recent one, Chris, is here? Mr. Stickney?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So my only quick question is just a comment. I thought the report you did in Lisbon, the Lisbon retail one, was very good, very thorough. Just 2 things. In the report, you mentioned that the property sold for $750,000, the land sold, and then you go ahead and value the property. Just want to point out that when you have just a suggestion is that if you, USPAP requires us to state and analyze previous sales. So you kind of stated, but you really didn't go into much detail about the previous sale. And just a suggestion going forward, you might want to do that so you avoid any issues going down. So I don't have any issues with that one. Then the next one I had, the Waterbury report, the one that's a Middlebury address, but it's really Waterbury.
Yep.
Okay. So on this report, I compliment you for putting in bold in the transmittal letter the address thing, because you're pointing something out that could be very misleading. But I have a question on the just where the hypothetical. This is new construction or an addition, and where your extraordinary assumptions and your hypothetical conditions at the beginning. Maybe I missed it, but did you make any for this report?
I see one on page, I guess it would be PDF page 3 of the report. An EA about the prospective value involving an extraordinary assumption describing the improvements have been completed at least to a point of economic stabilization. That'd be for the future data value. And I believe no hypothetical conditions.
Right,
and
so
I believe
can
at the
you
end
back
they
up a
should be added.
second? Are you on
Of course.
page 3 of the transmittal? Because my page 3 is an aerial view.
I am on PDF page 3, so that would be,
I got you. PDF page 3.
yes, sir. Right at the bottom, we have an extraordinary assumption that basically speaks to, once the improvements are complete. In this case, it was an addition to the existing improvements as well as a brand new building in the rear, that they would be, leased at a point of economic stabilization, as well as, we're presuming good quality, good construction, competent management, all that we mentioned. And I believe if we scroll down, it's also mentioned as an extraordinary assumption in the next section.
Okay. The only thing I met on this report that I have is I noticed your industrial leases, your property is actually in Waterbury, which has a high tax rate, right? High mill rate. And I noticed that you only used your leases, only one of them is really, none of them are from Waterbury, and one was from Watertown. And your Watertown, which is closer to your property, was your lowest rent. And I noticed that kind of a trend. None of your sales were from Waterbury, et cetera. And I know you didn't do a cost approach, which is okay. I just want to caution you that, just be careful of skewing values when you don't really focus on the local market. And I didn't seem, you gave a lot of detail in the report, which I commend you for, on the market and the analysis and stuff like that. But when it really gets down to it, it's the data. So if you're going to make these assumptions and these decisions that impact your value, that I really recommend going forward that you try to use more data. I know it's maybe seemed hard to get rents in Waterbury, but they are out there. There's plenty out there, and they do tend to be a little bit lower because taxes are kind of higher. And the other thing I want to caution you on is when you use like sale 2 in that report. I know the other sales were confirmed, but that sale wasn't confirmed. It was just CoStar and Concomps. We've been running into issues too where CoStar, just be careful when you have these large leases. You have a building that is owner occupied, and you're using buildings that are leased, and then you have a building here that you're not sure of, et cetera. If you're putting weight on it, I think you need to just emphasize to the reader a little more caution.
Understood.
But other than that, I thought you did a very, very good job. I read the self-storage facility, but I know that supervisor is not here. So the only comment I'm going to make is just be conscientious when you're doing special purpose property types, such as a self-storage facility, that you really spend more time understanding how those properties operate. And the reason why I point that out is in this report, you have repairs and maintenance of only $10,000, almost a little less than $11,000. And yet, if you go and look at the snow plowing, what it would cost to plow that thing, it's going to be a lot more than just that. So you can easily get skewed and underestimate or overestimate something if you're not on a special purpose property type, if you clearly don't understand, without having the experience. So when you start doing those, more of them, I highly suggest, in this case, I know you were relying on your supervisor, but as you go forward, to just spend more time really understanding those and ask for more historical data so you can establish trends, et cetera. Thank you. That's all I have, Jared.
I appreciate that. I'll definitely consider that in my future reports. I appreciate it.
Very good. Other members of the commission, are there any questions? Hearing none, I have a couple here, really now just the one, because Commissioner Galvin kind of covered a number of my points here. Mr. Page, how much, I'm looking at the Stores land, the Stores Connecticut land.
Yes, sir.
I'll move over to that one. How much of that represents your work, or what percentage did you do, or how much did Mr. Stickney do?
I would say, as I think I alluded to in the certification section of that report, a majority of that report was my doing. And then, of course, a lot of questions in terms of strategy for land valuation. I spoke with Chris, and a lot of course, review, and then just general maintenance editing. He took part in. So I would say definitely with his assistance, but majority was my doing.
Very good. Land, the outsider thinks it's easy. It gets to be quite challenging. And
Yes,
so I have a question here. You gave and as is market value, and then you gave also a liquidation value. And with the discount, what was the thought process? How did you come to that determination of what was appropriate and so forth for the liquidation value?
Right. So this was something that I definitely consulted Chris with. I wanted to get market participant opinions in what a general player in the market, a broker, would maybe suggest. Someone's experienced. In this case, I spoke with a Hartford broker, and basically, I wanted to get a general range, an opinion of if the owner, if a typical owner were to liquidate this asset, in 3 months, which was the timeline requested by our client, what would be sort of the discount? The range, I believe, was about, I want to say 15 to 25%, was suggested by the market participant interviews, and we chose to choose a liquidation value discount in the middle of the range, 20%.
Very good. Understand. I will just say, as Commissioner Gavin had said earlier, moving forward and so forth, have no issues. Fine. Nice job for both of you. Okay, on that. It just seems in the last, I'll be candid with you, from Halloween on here, we're seeing a lot more requests for liquidation value, and depending on the entity, they will have what they call forced liquidation, normal liquidation, or disposition, value. And just when you get those requests, all I simply say is have them define the time frame for you. Okay, and put that in the report. So as Commissioner Gavin was saying, you never will be accused of being misleading. This is what was requested under that time frame, because there seems to be no hard and fast rules. Here I just gave 3 terms that mean 3 different things in kind of the same arena that is easily to be misleading. So that's my only suggestion, for just your career, both, going down. It's something that's just really come on strong in the last 10 weeks. So, and I expect it to be living with us through 24 and 25. That's all. Okay. I have nothing more.
I just want to throw in one more comment on that.
Yeah.
This is really good. Because if you remember the last time we had these liquidation values, it was really in the early 90s. We didn't really have them come up into.
That's right.
And there have been lawsuits against appraisals. I'm aware of one against your actual firm, where the liquidation value wasn't supported. It was just discounted. The appraiser just made a discount with no support. And there was actual data in the market were showing that they said that how long, what would be the value after if it had to take 90 days to sell, and they just discounted it down. Yet everything in that market for that particular property was selling in 3 to 4 or 5 days. It happened to be a condominium down in Greenwich. So it went to court, and several people lost. The appraiser ended up. So just be careful. Make sure if you're doing those liquidation values that you're actually supporting it with data, which is what I said before. Just, if you're making these as general assumptions, make sure you have the data in there to support it. And if it doesn't make sense and you're worried about confusing your reader, that's fine. Put it in your work file and keep it there and explain it. So if somebody calls you on it, you have it. Thanks.
Very good. Any questions from members of the commission? Hearing none, then we thank you. I will call this. Does someone want to make up a motion?
I make a motion that we
Mr. Page's
accept.
application. Go
I
ahead.
make a motion that we accept Kyle Page's application. Period.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Okay, I have a second. Jen. Discussion. Hearing no discussion, I will call it to a vote. Ayes for accepting Mr. Page's application. Ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? Congratulations, Mr. Page. Okay. At some point, Debbie will probably be reaching out, or you can the next day or two, because she gets loaded with all these things here today, and she can give you the direction of, the next steps for you. We wish you nothing but the very best in your career, and it's good to see folks, coming and entering the field. So nothing but the very best.
Thank you very much, Jerry, John, Debbie, and everyone. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Old business number 2, RCRG applicant, Christina. Now, Christina, I don't mean to be informal. We've never met. I do not want to mispronounce your last name because, boy, this is a challenge for me. So could you, for me, could you, how do you pronounce your last name?
Barrios Nuevo. And that's,
Thank you.
do you want me to spell?
And
I didn't put it.
yeah, so now we're going to go into the formal stuff here. Could you give your full name, spelling of your last name, and the address of your business employment?
All right, it's Christina Barrios Nuevo. That's BARRIOS NUEVO. And employment is 16 Spring Lane, Farmington.
Okay. And you have a supervisor who happens to be on, and for the record, no, Mr. Galvin is stepping aside from wearing the commission hat, and now he's on a sponsor hat. Mr. Galvin, for the record, your name, spelling of your last name, and place of employment.
John Galvin, GALVIN, 16 Spring Lane, Farmington, Connecticut, and it's Galvin Appraisal Services.
Very good. Thank you. I open up to members of the commission. We were sent you had forwarded your reports that we had requested. We thank you. I open up any questions from members of the commission that you would like to present here.
So Jerry, I would have to tell you, you have to start practicing your little Spanish. You wouldn't know how to pronounce that. But as far as the reports go, they're very good. So I really thought they were good reports. I have no issues. Nice job.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments from members of the commission? Questions? Okay. I have a couple here, and let me just jump in here. I'm going to look at your oldest and then your newest and so forth. So the first one that was submitted in terms of date was 50 North Street in Goshen. I believe that's dated the 6th of December of 21.
Yeah.
And I know you were younger in your career. So I'm just going to ask a general question, maybe what you've learned from then to now. That was a restricted report. So in your mind, what would be the difference between a restricted report and an appraisal report that you had, other samples up for us here?
Just in terms of detail, with the restricted, the the beginning of the report, I don't put as much detail because the reader knows more about the property given a narrative, full, complete report.
Okay, great. And how much of that report in December of 21 represents your work product, or were you just in the beginning? Where were you with your career?
Well, I was in the beginning of my career, and we did a bulk of schools in Litchfield County, so I primarily helped John with the sales because he knew more about the schools versus I did the land.
Yeah, he may have attended them all, back in the day. So, okay. Fine. Now I'm going to jump now up to your report in 464 Colony Street in Meriden. That was done on the 14th of June of 2023. So that's relatively recent.
Mm-hmm.
And again, kind of a quick question here. How much of that represents your work product?
A fair chunk, at least 90%, all of it I did. So he just reviewed.
Okay. I noticed in that report that it was an update appraisal, and you clearly identify that. You had done it, I believe, I don't have it in front of me here, but January, and then you're again doing it in June. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you did an interior inspection of the property in January?
Yeah. And the second one we did was just an exterior.
Okay. And why was there just an exterior done?
It was a foreclosure, and I remember that they just needed a quick update because we just to move forward with the foreclosure proceeding. They needed to get a quick update, so we assumed everything interior didn't change.
Fully understand. Thank you. And since I didn't see your qualifications in any of the reports, give a quick verbal CV of yourself in the industry, and where do you go to college and so forth.
I went to University of Hartford, graduated, owned a ice cream shop during COVID. I decided to do a career change and came across appraisals and started taking classes all during COVID. That's what I did with that chunk of money that we got from Joe Biden. And now I found John, and here I am.
Very good. Okay. So you have been in appraisal since 21, is that correct?
Yes.
Is that when you started?
2020 is when I got my provisional.
Oh, August of 20. Okay. Very good. Very good. Thank you. I have no other questions, folks. Does
Jerry,
anybody else?
Her qualifications are in the back of the report. We don't put them in the addenda. We actually put them as part of the report.
Okay, John, it must have been in the photocopy, the copies I have. All 5 didn't have them in there. They had yours, but none of hers.
Oh, hers are right after mine. Okay.
Okay. Very, very good. Any other questions from members of the commission? Hearing none, can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
We have a motion by Shauna to approve. A second?
I'll second it.
Norris with a second. Comments, questions by members of the commission? Hearing none. Ayes?
Aye.
Ayes.
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? Congratulations. Yeah, well,
Thank
John, yeah, you're we got you off the record quick here earlier. Christina, congratulations. You were listening before. We wish you nothing but the very best with your career. And Debbie can will, in a day or two, I'm sure, give you a little bit direction what the next steps are for you. And we, again, wish you nothing but the very best. And thank you for coming into the industry.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Have a good day.
You too.
Okay. All right. So now, Mr. Galvin, you are back on wearing the commission hat. Okay. Yes. Number 3, RCR applicant, Peter Daniel Booth. And sample review and interview. This was tabled from October our meeting, and Supervisor Andrew Ohazo, RCR 387. For the record, is Mr. Booth, are you with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. There you go. Can you please give your name, spelling of your last name, and the address of your employment for the record, please?
Sure. Peter Booth, and it's 100 Andrews Way, South Windsor, Connecticut.
Very good. And your sponsor is with us here this morning, Mr. Ohazo. Could you please give your name, spelling of your last name, and address of employment, please?
Yes, Andrew Ohazo Jr., O''Hazo, 40 Sunset Lane, Washington Depot, Connecticut, 06794.
Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Booth, you had sent samples and which we had requested. We thank you very much for that. And I'm going to open it up for other members of the commission. They may have questions, and we'll see, because I have a few, and we'll see if they're already asked by others. So anyone on the commission would like to ask any questions here to Mr. Booth?
Well, I have some. So you want me to go first?
Why not? Mine only got two. They're pretty quick, but you may already cover them, Shauna, so go ahead.
All right, so I reviewed two of these appraisals. I'm a little disappointed in what I saw. So the first one, yes, I have a few questions, and then I found obviously a very clear mistake. So I'm not sure if your supervisor is reviewing these reports or not. And then I have a couple of general comments. Well, this is the 4 Prospect Road in Westport, Connecticut.
Okay.
So you had all these conditions as C3 with no explanation, just saying that they are similar. Your general explanations, you really don't go into very much detail about explaining your logic into that. You have a 2-bedroom and a 4-bedroom, and there's no adjustment. And most of the markets I know, 2 bedrooms definitely affect the market. No explanation of that. You have every house is a Q3. You use 2 ranches to comp a colonial. You have $10,000 an acre in Westport. Land in Westport's extremely expensive. You didn't do a cost approach, so I don't even know if you understand the land values in Westport. And then where do you think the value comes from? And then if you also only use $30 a foot for GLA. So those are some of the things on this report.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, when I did do the reports, that's just the value of the comps that I had at the time. Those are the best comps in the area. They were pretty much on the same street. I thought they met the value of the comps. They were really recent sales as well, so I felt that was a good determination of the market value.
When you say they met the comp, what was that? What the value of the comp?
I said they met, they were similar to the subject property, and they were pretty much the market value of what was similar, what it was going for. They were local too. They were all within like a mile on the same street. So I thought that was the best determination of what the subject property would be. I mean, they were pretty recent sales. They were on the same street.
No question on the sale date. I agree that they were recent sales, but
and the location and the square footage, and those were just the best available properties at the time.
Any explanation why you didn't adjust for a 2-bedroom or comment on it?
I mean, hold on, I have to pull it up 1 second. Let's see this subject. It was a 2-bedroom. Which comp are you talking about?
Comp 1.
Comp 1. This would be, it was a 2-bedroom, so it was a 3-bedroom, so 2 baths. So I just felt that that didn't add a value that I needed to make an adjustment for.
Have you
I mean,
done
I
a
re-
study?
I-
Have you done a study
re-
on 2-bedroom sales compared to 3-bedroom sales?
I mean, I reviewed it with Andrew. At the time, we shed some light on that. I don't know if we felt, maybe we felt that didn't really affect the value of the property because it was in Westport, and I don't know if Andrew has anything to chime in. I think we felt at the time that we didn't have to, adjustment wasn't necessary.
And you didn't make a comment. Why would you not make a comment?
I probably should have made a comment, but we just didn't feel like that it affected the value.
Do you have in your work file sales of 2 bedrooms and 3-bedroom units? Houses, I should say, sorry.
Yes, yes.
To show that there's no difference in value?
Yeah, I assume I do. I mean, that was just what was going on with the market value. I mean, I assume I do it. I'd have to go back and look at the files, but
You do have the file with you, right? You have your work file with you.
no, I keep them with Andrew, my work file. That's why
I
if
would
anything-
recommend anytime you come in front of the commission to have the files with you, just in case there's questions being asked.
Okay, yeah.
You also stated that you gave equal weight to all these, and one is clearly much bigger. And that instead of just saying, well, comp 3, it seems to be the better comp and your value's pretty close, but you say you gave equal value to all of them.
For which comp are you? So you're saying I gave equal value to?
Well, that's what you stated.
Yes. I didn't think it changed the value of
But
the
isn't
appraisal.
one sale better than the other sales? To say they're all equal, there's clearly a better comp compared to others.
I mean, I thought when I did look at the MLS at the time and all that, those were the 3 best comps that I feel affected the market value.
I understand that you thought they were the 3 best, but that doesn't mean they're all treated equally.
Okay, I mean, they are adjusted at different prices, but yeah.
Very, very limited explanation throughout the report. And you also have an extra page in here. I'm not sure if that was probably just a mistake, but you have a comparable 7 page that probably doesn't belong since there is no comparable 7. Let me jump over to the other report.
Okay.
Which is your Waterbury report.
I would just like to point out with that Westport report that the 2-bedroom sale was the highest adjusted value, which would indicate that people are not paying less for a 2-bedroom. And also the bedrooms were bracketed with a 4-bedroom, which was the middle value. And there was also a 3-bedroom, which was similar to the subject. So the market data here is showing us that the 2, 3, and 4 bedrooms do not create any necessary value adjustments.
Well, you're assuming that it's just on the value of that by itself. You would need another 1,460 square foot with approximately an acre. That, all these are C3s, which that's hard to understand as well as Q3s. I'm not even, do you understand what's the difference between a Q and a C? What's a Q3 grade there, Dan, Peter?
Yeah, the quality of the property.
Which means what?
It's pretty good condition. I mean.
No. Condition is C.
Yeah, you said Q. Are you saying Q3?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the quality of the property.
Yeah, means what? Explain to me what's the quality of the.
It's market value. It's in pretty good shape. It's been good condition. It's renovated. It's not like a beat up house or anything that I feel that would need any significant repairs or fixtures or anything like that.
That's condition. You should really read what those, it's in your report. You should read what the differences are. But let me go over to the other ones, so then there's other people can ask you some questions. Let's go to the Waterbury report. And your pictures are wrong. You have the same picture for two of the properties. Comparable rental 2 and comparable rental 3 are the same. So obviously you just clearly put in the wrong picture. You have a 2-family that has a basement unit, and you don't even discuss that. You have the living area as all above grade, and then you included the basement apartment in the basement, but there's no explanation again of explaining that. And we're talking Waterbury. There's many 2-family sales, so can't imagine that you can't find a better comparable. Your subject is on Baldwin Street, and Baldwin Street is in a very bad neighborhood of Waterbury. You compare to on top of the Tell Plot Hilltop, which is a much more desirable neighborhood, and you made no adjustment for location. And then the last comment I have on this one, I guess, is your lot size. You have double the lot on number 2 with no adjustment. I mean, double. I just don't understand.
I mean, I'm looking back at it. When we went over it and everything there, like I said, that maybe I should have added more comps or look back at it, but it just, at the time, there wasn't that. I was looking at, here, I gotta look at this one, the marketing conditions real quick. Cause I don't remember every single one I did, but I'm pretty sure that there weren't that many sales to pick from at the time, let's say. Yeah, there was like about 10 a month, so. But I did deduct for the basement.
I think you're missing my point. Is that you could have found some better comps. Even and if this was your best 3, you should have been giving me a 4th comp to show me that there's another comp out there that helps. Because having a basement, a house that went from a single family into a multifamily, and there's an apartment in the basement. Oh, yeah, there was also in your rental. Now that you brought your rental, you had $700 for a 3-bedroom rent, and then all your other ones, you got 2 bedrooms at $1,125, $850, $1,200. Why is the one rent $700? Have you done did you do any discovery on why that one's only $700?
Just market value. I mean, there was, because there wasn't a basement, or, I mean, that's just, that was the
I'm
market.
sorry. I think you need some more time to understand a little more of the processing. And I am a little disappointed with even your supervisor that they didn't review this enough to explain more, to see that the picture's wrong, to see that you weren't really using similar type of properties. And then, like I said, Waterbury, there's a clear market between Baldwin and the top of the hill. But that's all I have to say, but I will not be recommending you to go forward. I think you need more time.
Okay, thank you.
I would just like to point out a few things about that appraisal. You had mentioned in Westport the land values, which we had considered in that appraisal, and we extrapolate this in market data from the sales data that we use in the appraisal we're doing and previous appraisals. And I mean the land values, you're kind of contradicting yourself, saying that there should have been adjustments. These are pretty minor differences for site sizes, and the vacant land values for this area of Waterbury are very low. So I do not feel that site size adjustments were required. And the with multifamilies, obviously we have GBA in contrast to GLA, which GBA can include below grade area in the GBA, which is what we did here, which is appropriate for that basement apartment.
Well, I don't disagree, but there's better comps for sure. And again, there's no explanation of any of that information in this report.
And I would just like to say, as far as the rent, I mean, I think typically what's going on now is long-term tenants are many times paying a below market rate currently in comparison to properties that have rented in more recent times where prices were higher.
And did you contact them to find that out? Do you know that to be the fact? Did you state that in the report?
I did not contact the tenant or the landlord, no.
So
But that's
you
pretty.
don't know why. There might be a reason why. You have to do research. You have to do some work on that. You have to contact the realtor.
Okay. Are there other members of the commission? Any questions?
I just got one comment. If two things, one, remember we have standard one, which is the appraisal process. Standard two is the reporting process, communicating the analysis. And communicating analysis seems always for everybody to take learning that takes longer over time. And if you listened how Andrew was responding, very positive, very he was very confident in his answers to the questions. Going forward, I think you need to look, my suggestion is to really work on learning how to do that, because the more you can communicate with other people and answer and defend your reports, the more you can communicate in your report. I find that correlation to be very true. So try working on that as you go forward, being more confident in your answers, being more direct in your answers, and trying to think quicker with your answers. Having the work file might actually help you, because you would have some of that additional information there where you could stop, pause, look, and throw some other support in there. That's it for me.
Okay. Mr. Booth, I want to come back to the 4 Prospect Road in Westport,
Okay.
if I may, please.
Yep.
And I see that there was no time adjustment put in place here. When did the Westport market start to slow down, or when did it slow down? I mean, we've been reading so much, other than the next town over. So,
Yeah.
it makes all these publications and how hot things are, but, and your sales were all close to each other in time and so forth. I understand. But when did that market start to level off, so to speak?
Yeah, so I mean, it hasn't made I'm looking at the marketing conditions right now. It hasn't made a huge drop off, but it's been pretty steady actually. It says the last 12 months. It's gone from 16 to 10 to 9. So I wouldn't say that I considered it stable because
Yeah.
like I said, it hasn't really made a significant drop off. And I mean, Westport's a pretty high area, so there's always going to be, it kind of holds its value. I think that not everyone could just go out and buy $1 million house. So I thought with the marketing conditions, it was it wasn't really a significant drop off. That's why I had it as stable.
No, I understand. I was just wondering, we keep reading and we were reading, but like a lot of things have settled out. But I was just wanted your input, of what you were seeing in that, in that marketplace there. Thank you. Were there any other, let me ask you this. You're based out of Washington Depot, correct?
I'm not. Andrew is. I'm out of South Windsor.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. So how often are you go down to the Westport marketplace?
Westport, we don't do that many reports. We kind of do it all over Connecticut, but
Okay.
Yeah, maybe once a quarter, maybe.
All right.
Like
So when you go down to that type, the coast, for lack of a better phrase here, does it take you a lot longer to do appraisal reports, or how does that work?
yeah. I mean, it's more research because I'm not as familiar with the market a little bit, but and it's not as because we've done a good amount of ports in like Torrington, Waterbury, so we kind of, that's how we, even with the rents and all that, like we kind of got a little bit of the trend, what properties are going for. But every time you go to a new area, yeah, it does take longer because you got to do more market research.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I have no other questions. A lot were covered. Uh, Members of the commission, thoughts? Do I hear a motion one way or the
I'm
other?
gonna make a
or-
motion that he comes back in 6 months and he produces 4 more reports, one with a cost approach, because the 2 I looked at didn't have one.
Okay, we have a motion on the
Is there
on
any
the floor.
possible way that it could be like 3 months or something? Just,
I think you need a lot more time, in my opinion.
Okay, hang on a moment, please. Do I hear a second to Shauna's motion?
Second.
I have a second. Now discussion. Okay, now we can discuss.
Debbie,
The-
does he have 6 months time left in his cycle? How long have you been in a provisional?
That's what I'm checking to see when his first issue was. His first, yeah, he's got time. His first issue was October 8th of 2021.
Of 2021?
Correct.
That's just a little over 2 years, so yeah, for sure, you could tell.
Is there
Shauna,
any-
do you, go ahead, John, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I just was wondering, is based on his answers, it sounds to me like he understands the appraisal process, but is not communicating it and kind of,
I don't think he understands condition and quality. He keeps answering the quality question with condition. What kind of condition? Renovations? That has nothing to do with the quality of the. So I disagree with that.
well,
And
no. So let me,
and his explanation of his you picking these comps because it fit into some comp range instead of just finding the best sales. That's, you're supposed to be determining the comp range. So I disagree with that.
oh no, Shauna, what I'm getting at is, I'm not disagreeing with you, Shauna. I agree with you. His, the information that you just talked about, Shauna, is that something that he needs 6 months to learn, or is that something he can learn in 3 months and then come back to us?
I think I think he's way too green. That's just my opinion.
and I feel like, if given the opportunity too, I feel like I could accelerate and even do more appraisal reports in that time period, in the 3 months, but.
Jennifer, do you have an opinion?
There might be some more with the definition and everything, but I feel like even with Andrew and all that, we haven't really got many kickbacks or anything, but there are things I agree that maybe definitions or just articulating or explaining it better. I get more nervous, like kind of like you said, I need to get better at like the comeback, like how Andrew rebutted right away. We do so many that I get not nervous, but just on kind of presenting it more than I do typing the actual report. But
All right, Mr. Booth, thank you for your comments. Right now, this is just for the commission to talk right now, commission members, okay? And then we will give you an opportunity in a moment. All right? Thank you. Jennifer, John had asked you a question.
Yeah, I agree with both John and Shauna that the communication piece seems to be lacking, and that's really what needs to be strengthened, verbally as well as in the actual report. In terms of how long that takes to kind of flush that out, I'm not sure.
Okay. Maria, any thoughts, and Norris, either or?
Mr. Chairman, I agree with all 3 of my commission members, especially Shauna, and thank you.
Okay. Maria, any thoughts?
Just a quick comment, because I am in the Waterbury area, and the two areas that you mentioned, Shauna, which was Baldwin and, oh man, the other area, which is a little bit more of a better area. People want that area more than Baldwin Street. There is a huge difference in the rental and purchase price. So I think, like Shauna mentioned, maybe do a little bit more comparison and also more details. I think that the more detail we have, the better we're able to make a decision.
Okay. Thank you. Before we take a vote, as I promised you, Mr. Booth, would you like to one final comment, or Mr. Ohazo, any comment as the sponsor before we take the vote?
Yeah, I would just like to say, I mean, I can certainly see about Peter's communication here, and as I'm witnessing this, I'm realizing I haven't really prepped him, for this perspective to be, yeah, I've guided him and provided him with a lot of information, making sure that he understands it, but I haven't had him, verbally explain things back to me, which I think could be helpful to him in a situation like this.
Okay. Mr. Booth?
I think that's all.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Okay, then we have a motion on the table. And Shauna is asking for him to come back and correct me if I'm wrong, Shauna, with my notes here, 6 months with 4 samples and one of which is inclusive of a cost approach. Am I correct with that?
Yes.
Okay, and we have a second of that on the table. Having had discussed this, I'm calling this motion to a vote. Ayes?
Aye.
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 Nays? Abstentions? Okay, Mr. Booth, 6 months, so that would bring us into July. And we typically do not meet in August. So I may make a suggestion here to try to facilitate these things, is that in June that you would get your, whatever your log, your samples, what you think your work process is, over to Debbie. Therefore, we make sure they are on the July agenda, and therefore we can meet again. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, if you, and you have a sponsor who shows up, then thank you. If you have any questions or concerns or what have you, if you could pose those to Debbie here, who can facilitate those out to the commission members. If you've come up with something in March, hey, what did they mean by this or that, to help, provide a little guidance if that is needed at any point in time. Okay? If you don't, what I'm trying to say, don't live in a vacuum, both of you gentlemen. If there's a question, maybe we can help facilitate that in March or April instead of waiting at that point in time. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Very good. Thank you. Okay, under old business, review of reciprocal appraiser qualifications. This was tabled from the December meeting. And Debbie, this is the Wisconsin issue. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was, and Debbie, I'm going to ask a question if I may, please.
Sure.
And I'm just clearing off my screen because I did a lot of little reviewing last night here. Is this also is this for the Mr. Alperston situation?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
enough said. I'll keep quiet because I was going back to the agenda after doing reviewing last night. And so go ahead. The floor is yours.
Well, this individual put his application in seeking reciprocal RCG, and I checked, he had his license with Wisconsin, and I went through the process. I first started, I checked National Registry, and his name wasn't on there. So that brought me over to Wisconsin's webpage, and I looked up his license, and he was just issued the license the day before he applied to Connecticut for a reciprocal. So I contacted Wisconsin to see about getting, his certificates, or, actually to confirm whether or not he had a trainee license, a provisional license, and found that he did not have that. So then I asked for the CE certificates, QE certificates, to make sure that, he had completed all of that, and a sample of his work log, or his work log to pull samples from. And they wouldn't give them to me. So at that time, I reached out to the applicant and asked him to provide the QE certificates and the work log. So once I got the work log, I chose three properties and asked him to forward his appraisal reports. And when I got them, they looked a little different than what I normally see. So that's where I decided that this needs further investigation. So I sent you everything to look over, and that's that.
Okay. Thank you for the quick overview. As I forward, I think yesterday, I want to say it was yesterday, it might have been the day before, but I don't know when, because I reached out to our office and the folks who cover up in that area, especially with our junior program. That's my word. So we have fancy names because now what we have to call them, appraisal development program, ADP, and so forth and so on, and talk to the appraisal manager who covers for us, Wisconsin and so forth. And I forward that to you folks. So there is, in theory and in practice, what she's telling me, you betcha there is a trainee license, okay, in Wisconsin, and I know our folks are. So I'm not, I'm with you, Debbie. Here, I was just trying to get an understanding of why this gentleman, it's not showing up. Lord knows, which raises more red flags. Let's call it what it is, okay? Because our folks, I can only say at Cushman Wakefield, who have come through Wisconsin, have had the trainee license, or provisional, or junior, whatever one wants to call it. States call it different things. So we do know it's there. If you looked at that language, it's a little weird how they wrote that. It was almost like they could almost get around it, for a lack of a better phrase. But I think that was just syntax. That you requested the work product was very interesting, and I applaud you for it, because I got deep into the one up in the Dakotas, North or South Dakota, and if we really got into it, it was, they say that they're going to follow the Appraisal Institute and USPAP and so forth, but their definitions and everything go back to the accounting definitions of fair value, not market value. It's fair value. And there is a difference. And I go in there, and nowhere will you find exposure time or marketing time and so forth. And, I was just going on the land. I didn't know if he was going to be up, before us here today. So I had, unfortunately, a litany of questions to go through because, as Shauna was just showing before, some inconsistencies on the Resi side of a report here. There was some, how does one politely put this, leaps of faith. Okay, I'll leave it at that, on the commercial. So where do we stand here? Is he trying to do we know, is he just licensed in Wisconsin? Is he at other places? Because maybe I spent way too much time on this last night, going deep into it. Okay.
I can check the National Registry now, but at the time he got his very first license with Wisconsin the day before he applied to us.
Okay. I didn't mean to dominate the conversation. There are other members of the commission, feel free to jump in. I didn't mean to go off, because I know we had discussed this. Debbie, rightfully so, you raised more than one red flag. Let's call it what it was. It was a flotilla. I thought I was at the Alabama-Michigan game at the Rose Bowl with the red flags running out, But And so I've spent a little time. So I'll shush for a minute. Others may have other comments or thoughts on this.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
you want to bring him in? You want to zoom him in?
I have two thoughts on that. That's a great thing, Norris, here. I think Debbie has done a yeoman's job of bringing this to light, because 99 out of 100 times that probably no one would have ever picked up on it. To be, let's call it what it is, being around here. So I applaud that. If we start getting into, if one state has granted them a license, there's this, and I won't use the word gentleman's agreement. Well, if they met the use PAP and they met the AQB requirements and they met all this, then it's kind of thought, then it goes, universal. However, this is where that fundamental difference in the federalist thing, state versus federal rights. And we have a right to say, no, you don't, for whatever reasons here. And it may be worth to hear what's going on, Norris. I don't know. I don't want to speak for others, but I think it's a fair point.
The only reason why I'm saying this, because I remember what Shauna said last month, about reciprocity, and that's always stuck with it. As just hearing what she said, do we want to? He's got a license in Wisconsin. Do we want to mess with this reciprocity stuff? But you're also saying this other stuff. Shauna, speak your piece. Remember what you said last month.
No, I already said that. I mean, basically everybody knows, I don't know how we can question some other state as long as their criteria is the same as ours.
Yeah.
That's the issue. Would we want other states questioning what we do if we gave somebody a license, as long as the same requirements? Somebody should be watching that over there.
There are flags there.
Any thoughts on folks? Sean, I hear you. You know what I'm saying? It's a Pandora's box we may be opening up, okay? Or as I call a rabbit hole, we may not want to go down, okay? But if we go down, it can't go. We can't go halfway. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be all the way through. Again, Debbie, I applaud you. How the heck you picked up on it is, I don't think I would have picked up on it, to be blunt
Yeah, I
about
think
it
that's
here.
excellent.
Yeah, so I nothing but a tip of the hat and then some. Okay.
Thank you.
But
I did check the National Registry while you were discussing, and he lives in Massachusetts. The first one was Wisconsin, and he has since been approved in his home state of Massachusetts on October 24th, 23. So his first approval for Wisconsin was 9/14/23. Then he applied to us 9/15/23. And then he got approved in reciprocity for Massachusetts 10/24/23. And my second thought was, I thought that nationally the AQB rules had to be followed. So if Wisconsin doesn't have, and I'm not saying, we have to regulate Wisconsin. That's not my intention. I'm thinking about for Connecticut and what we are approving. If another state doesn't follow AQB rules and gives a license out, and then we automatically give a license out based on that, are we then not following AQB rules? And how is that going to look?
I would agree. If they're not following the rules, I think that's where we should stop. But
Hey, guys, is Vicky there? Vicky, you listening?
Yes, I am listening, and as I was listening,
Your opinion.
As I was listening, I was also looking at the regulations and the statute relative to, a state provisional appraiser. Is that what he wants to be? Here?
He's applying for a general.
Oh, to
general
be a general.
certified.
Oh, well, either way, I mean, documentation of experience and education is one of the things that the commission has the ability to ask for and is required to ask for. I think to, I guess, inquire further, I think is what is due diligence. I think you have to ask. So if the next step is to have him come to give some explanation or, explain, I don't think it's not necessarily contrary to what your responsibilities are. So I don't think it's a bad thing to have him come, but if there's some documentation that can be provided ahead of time, that's fine. But if you need to have him come to give an explanation, that's fine as well. Any person that comes before you with an application, or any application that comes before you, has the right to be scrutinized. And I think this is a situation in which there's some questions as to what the qualifications are. So, before you put them on the agenda, I can check again just to be sure, because this is what, my interpretation of what I'm reading here, but I can get clarification on that to see, but I don't think that there's any harm or foul in asking for that explanation or further understanding of what the process was or what actually happened, what was provided. If there's questions about what's there, it's questions about what's there.
Okay. I don't mean to run, but I am.
I know
1
you
minute
said 10.
past.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I literally have to go over, and 10:05 is when I go live with them. So with the court. So,
Okay. So what I can do is let me do some follow-up, and then I'll get something in writing as to how best to proceed. How about that?
okay. Can we table this then to February, folks? This will work for everyone?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
And I'll have
All
some
right.
answers by then. Thank you so much.
Very good. This leaves, we had 3 or 4 items on new business. I'm so sorry, folks, but the court wanted me there at 9 and they've given me till 10:05. So
Okay.
I've got to run. Okay. So thank you. Be well. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Happy New Year, Jerry. Good luck in court. Who's next? Who's taking over?
All right, I'll take over. So what's
Okay,
next?
John.
What's next on the agenda?
Danny Bull, number 1, new business number 1. He requests equivalent CE for 2 completed courses, CCMA, number 1A and course number 1A and 1B, assessment valuation.
All right,
So you have
Shauna.
all the certificates that show that he passed those too. So we give usually 10 for each, so we only give up to 18. So I'll make a motion to grant 18 hours CE credits.
Somebody second it?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Go to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? Okay, that's done.
Okay. Number 3 on new business, I know I'm skipping, but I thought I'd keep these together. Jan Barenholtz, RCG 46, requests 2 hours equivalent CE for Appraisal Institute course Trends and Valuations of Pension Fund Properties given higher interest rates and the banking crisis.
I reviewed this and I don't have an issue with it, but I can't make the motion.
Yeah, I agree with you, John. So I'll make the motion to grant the 2 hours.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? Okay, moving on. What's the last one?
The last one is when we were together at the meeting last month, discussion on the qualifications and approval process for course instructors. So given Jerry's not here, do you want to table that for February?
Yep, let's table that one.
Do we have to vote on tabling it?
No.
I don't know.
I don't know.
No, we don't have to table. You just table it. Then
Yeah,
we
okay.
agree
You
to-
don't have to vote.
No action.
Okay.
All right, so we did everything, right?
And I just have one question,
Always
as per
one.
usual. There's always one, but truly there's one because I wrote it down. Okay. So I had an inquiry late yesterday afternoon from somebody who is sponsoring a provisional. And this person said that they are getting a lot of assignments for revaluation. And they took a course recently and was told at this course that the REAC does not accept most valuation work. So she was just wondering, is this something on a GP form that the commission would accept as experience?
You mean mass valuation work?
Mhm.
So working for a revaluation company, like on the assessment side?
Apparently this is just
No,
what
if
she
you
said.
read our state regs, if you read our regs, it actually includes the definitions of include. So I believe they just have to show us their work. So it has to be a written product that we can read, that we can understand how they got to the value conclusion. Well, let's think that Sean and Jennifer would have a little more input here. Shauna?
I mean, that's gonna be kind of hard, right, Shauna? Because I mean, the only product that I think that they could produce is gonna be the townwide documentation. There's gonna be more than one person responsible for that.
Right.
So I don't know how you would narrow that down to just their singular work product.
Yeah, so there would have to be some sort of product they have in place that they could actually bring to us and demonstrate that they have the ability. Now, a lot of people who do reval work, do tax appeal work, etc., they have a written report, whether it be residential or commercial. So in that case, there's no issues there. But I think you have to go back to them and find out what, just explain it. It has to be a written work product that we can review and conclude that they understand the appraisal process.
All right, so I will do that, and I'll also ask for a sample if they have a sample to provide, just so I know what we're looking at here. Because if it's, I don't even want to say, but
All
anyways,
right,
I'll
you know
do
what?
that.
I'm
Thank
thinking
you.
this. We had a situation a number of years ago where there's a couple of situations and with this work product, and one of the, if I'm recalling correctly, I think it was the reviewers. And the question was, how are they documenting and what are they approving? And I actually went down to that bank. The bank that was Chris Italia was the chair, sent me down to the bank and reviewed what their work product was, what they did, how they did it, and everything like that before they moved forward. And they actually had a process in place. So this might be the case where they might be able to pick, if they're trying to get experience of credits and maybe they're doing, 200 appraisals a month for the mass part of it, but if they actually have some sort of format written out where they can pick, 5 of those and do a detailed analysis for the commission from that, then we can actually accept that. But it has to be something that we can actually review. So just because her job doesn't allow that, doesn't mean she can't stop and he or she do something extra that we can review and therefore give credit for what's in front of us. Make sense, everybody?
Yeah, so, I was kind of like in the same boat. I mean, I was a real estate appraiser, then I went into revalve, and then when I went to get my license and certified, I had to do some reports. So I had to do some of the ones of people I know, just to do them for the commission. So this way they had something to review. So it's in the same type of thing.
Yep.
Yep. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
You mean for the good of the order?
I do have something too, once I have it. If nobody else has anything else to say, I just wanted to, there was a lot of conversation last meeting regarding if we're going to be having meetings in person or continue on Zoom. I just wanted to kind of see where we were at. If we wanted to, I have February meeting as still being online. So I just wanted to put that out there. If that is not how you guys want to do it, if you want to do it in person, just to make a motion to change it in person.
I thought we were doing every other month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
February should be in person.
The
We
even
did discuss
months.
it, but
The
Okay,
even
that
ones
wasn't
are in
the
person.
proposed schedule. That I have March as being the next in person. So we're doing every other month in person, starting with February.
Yes.
Okay.
So February is going to be in person
Yeah.
or, okay. All right, sounds good.
And
Anything
then,
else?
Yeah, I had one thing just because, and Debbie knows about this because she helped me out a lot. Credit hours that were, when you put them online, I had put a whole bunch of credit hours online, and then when I went back into the system, they were all gone. So I don't know if that happened to more than one person. I mean, I checked Janet's, hers was gone as well. So I don't know if Debbie knows more on that. She knows there was a problem with that. So I don't, my concern is that somebody put in their credit hours back in December and they think they're all set. And now they may not be up there and they'll be accused of not putting them up in time.
Actually, when I went into your credential file, all the ones that you had uploaded were in there. So I don't know, I don't know the technical side of it, why it showed that they weren't uploaded, but they were uploaded. There was a lot, but I uploaded them again. So they're definitely in there.
All right, so that's good to know that at least you saw them. So,
Mm-hmm.
and mine, maybe I could see that because you reviewed them. I don't know if because you reviewed them, maybe they came off of online, but you know, we want to make sure that there's nobody that sent them out, you know, applied in December and all of a sudden now they think they're all set. They're going to renew their license and then somewhere we say, oh, you didn't renew you didn't put your credits up. And they say, oh, I did. So.
And I believe too that once you hit finish, there's supposed to be, the system is supposed to generate a confirmation. I don't know if that's an email or if it's just a pop-up. I have no idea about that, but that's what I'm told.
And maybe we can use, I'll just say use Shauna as a test case to find out about whether or not there was some type of, I'll say, confirmation, to see if it was
Yeah, you
generated,
know
so to
what?
speak.
I'm just thinking too, let me check because I think there's a way of seeing if something was emailed. Let me just check, Shauna, for a minute.
Debbie, while you're checking, we do just need a motion to change because the schedule's already been posted. So if somebody could just make a motion to change the meetings.
I'll make the motion to change the meetings in person starting in February and every other month.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
My discussion on this is that we already discussed this and we already voted on it. It should be in the minutes. But let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay.
All right, Shauna, I see here that, and I'll send this to you too, on March 20th of 23. Wait a minute. Oh, no, that's something else. Sorry. That is something else. View
March 20th.
certificates. Nope, I don't see anything. I don't see anything that has to do with successful upload in the email record here that the
Okay, so
system sends out.
Shauna, I just want to make sure it's okay that we use your situation, if you will, to I guess go through the process to see where the deficiencies are, where the problems are, knowing that you have uploaded all of your information or appropriate certificates. And is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
just wanna make
just,
sure. Okay.
you know, obviously my main thing is in case somebody comes to us down the road, I want to let everybody know that this did happen and we did verify that information. So.
Right. And what I will try to do is see what I'll say reports can be generated as to, what has been uploaded or who has uploaded. So that's something internal that we'll have to take a look at, and I can assure you we'll follow up on that.
I see here too, when I'm looking in documents, Vicky, that it has everything that she uploaded. The date was October 17th of 23, and it says here uploaded, well, it doesn't say uploaded, it just says internet versus the same documents that I uploaded on the 5th for her of
So that's good
January.
that you
Yeah.
have that then. That will be
Yeah.
Official.
Yep. It is. It's official.
Okay, so what we'll use that to see, if there was something that was generated, i.e. a confirmation saying, your certificates have been successfully uploaded, or whatever, needs to happen, or to allow the public to know that it has been done. So I can, follow up on that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
That's all I got.
All right. Somebody want to make a motion to wrap it up?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
There you go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Sounds good, guys.